We are now recording.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is the Beat of the Month podcast, and we are covering the month of June. So I'm going to introduce you. My name is Brian, and with me on the podcast today, we have Melbro.
What's up?
We have Darkside.
What's going on?
We have Bash.
What's going on?
And we have Moose.
Yo, yo.
All right, so we're going to go through, kind of talk about what the theme of the month of June was, and then some of the games that we beat. So the theme of the month for June, because it was Father's Day, we decided to play games that had a theme of a father in it. So whether you were playing as the father or you were playing as the sons, or there was some kind of relationship dealing with the father, something along those lines. So to start things off, Melbro, why don't you tell us what game you played within that theme for the month of June.
All right, so primarily this month, my time was spent playing The Last of Us, the first one, the original one. I had started playing it originally when it came out a few years ago on PS3, but never actually completed it. I got, pretty close to the end, but never actually finished it. So with the second one coming out, this month, it really motivated me to, go through and play the first original one. So, I will say, it is an amazing game. Really had an enjoyable time playing it.
It's a very happy, fun game.
Yeah, very happy, fun game, right? And that's a good point. I was actually, kind of debating playing that right now just because with everything going on in the world. I didn't know if I wanted to play a game that was so heavy, and dark. I was contemplating playing something a little bit more light to kind of lift my spirits, but I don't regret it at all. I mean, I think it was an amazing game. I think the story was really well told and really, helped me to look forward to part two. In terms of the dad theme, I think, just in the, first 15 minutes of the game, you really see that really heavy dad theme with Joel, the main character, and his daughter kind of going through, the town. And, I won't spoil anything, but, that's very exciting to kind of go through that part. And I really was touched by the story, and, his connection with his daughter in that game.
So when you played it before, Melvin, how far did you make it through when you played it the first time?
So I made it pretty far. I would say probably, I think it's a 15-hour game. I think I was maybe like 13 hours in, and for some reason I just never finished it.
Oh my God.
Life happened, so.
And you recently played this too, right, Darkside? Not like within June, but like a month or two before, is that right?
Yeah, I played it in January for the first time ever. And yeah, story-wise, I was blown away, Like, we had talked about it before, there's like 3 or 4 parts that just stuck out, like emotionally, like impacting, that I still think about today.
Darkside, since you played it recently, did you feel like it was, like, did it feel like an older, 2013 game or whenever it came out? Did it feel old to you when you played it, or did it, kind of hold up to what today's standards are in terms of, mechanics and gameplay? What do you think on that?
Well, storytelling-wise, I think it's still very relevant, even ahead of its time when it came out. Like I said, the story hit me hard. Gameplay-wise, I wouldn't say it was necessarily dated. It did feel like, whenever it came out, like a 2013 game or whatever. The controls weren't as tight as I would have liked them to be playing them in 2020. But it's not, they weren't bad. They were just a little bit, what's the right term?
Dated or?
They felt too familiar, I guess, at that point. Maybe if I had played it when it came out, it would have felt new and fresh, but it felt too familiar.
So what's the gameplay like? I never played it. I don't think I will, but I'm just curious. Is it like one of those, like, you have to press X at a certain time or whatever, like kind of action-based like that? Or is it
QTEs and shit?
Yeah, QTE type stuff?
Yeah, there are a few quick time events in there, but it's more, kind of linear. So if you play, some other similar games that came out, like, God of War, so it's not like a big open world. There's not a lot of exploration, but, really, like, the combat is really cool. Like, the close time combat, when you kind of, you see it, like, characters getting their heads kicked in and, bashed in the doors and, like, the zombies, And I feel like you really have to kind of manage, kind of like in a Resident Evil way, manage your inventory. There's times where you really only have, a few bullets. So you really have to think about, okay, do I need to be stealth in this moment, or do I need to, kind of, run away in this moment? So it kind of makes you strategize and just not, go in blindly and shooting. So I really like that aspect of it too. You really have to think about your inventory, every step of the way.
Yeah, resources. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I've been playing it this month too. I'm like right at the end, but I haven't finished it yet. I did play it before, but what I had forgotten is how limited your resources are. Not necessarily in terms of, I guess, availability in the world, but how much you can hold. Like your guns, they only hold like 20 bullets, and that's the most you can pick up. So it really, where most games, if I get a gun that I like, I'll just use that gun throughout the entire game. And like for really powerful stuff, like you get Molotov cocktails, you get like nail bombs in this. Usually in other games, I just hoard that stuff and I never use it until it's like a boss. But in this game, because you only get like 20 bullets per gun, I feel like I'm constantly switching weapons.
Yeah.
I'm always using those bombs and stuff because you can only hold 3 at a time. So if you're not using them, when you're coming across resources, you just can't pick them up. So it's not like you have this huge inventory that you're storing. So I thought they did a really good job there in kind of incentivizing the player to use like every bit of your arsenal. And to get into the gameplay a little bit, so there's this crafting mechanic where you pick up. It's pretty limited, but for me, I thought it was just enough to make things interesting. Where like to make a health kit, you'll pick up alcohol and you'll pick up like, I don't know, a cotton towel or something like that. But that stuff can also be used to make a Molotov cocktail. So if you're picking up these crafting items, you can choose, okay, do I want to craft a med kit or do I want to craft a bomb? And, different craft items are used for different things you make. So that was just another way that I thought it, like Melvin was saying, kind of made you think about, what you're using your items for. Which I thought was really well done.
Yeah, to add on to that though, too, it's like they really make you use every weapon in the game. Like most games that you play through that are, kind of action based. You just pick your go-to weapon and you just kind of keep that through the whole game. But the way that bullets are limited, you really have to make use of every single weapon in the game, and I really like that aspect of it as well.
So is that considered survival horror or something else?
I would say it's more stealth action. Like, I don't want to say it's like Metal Gear Solid where you can go in guns blazing or you can do it stealthy, but it kind of is where you can do it both ways. It does have survival horror to it because, there's the zombies and then there's the clickers and what else. But
the runners.
Yeah, the runners. That's what it was. But yeah, it's I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys are playing it more recent. Do you think it's a survival horror game?
I would consider it a survival horror game. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess some people view Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 as survival horror, and then Resident Evil 4, they consider that kind of a major departure from the series, more action, not survival horror, where to me, I still felt it had enough of that, I guess DNA from the first few games that I'd consider it the same genre. So I would say The Last of Us, I would still consider it to be a survival horror game.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of splitting hairs, like you can call it like either, but
sure, yeah.
I haven't played it, but
yeah, it's up to, I guess, personal interpretation of what you want to consider survival horror. I mean, they definitely give you. I've never been without ammo where I've had to just run away. Like they give you enough stuff, and I'm playing on normal. I'm not playing on a harder difficulty, so I've never been like completely wiped out of all my ammo. So yeah, it definitely leans more on the action side, but.
Yeah, when I played
even in like the first 3 Resident Evil games, like you're never out of ammo almost ever, but still like survival horror. So.
Yeah, when I played the first one, or The Last of Us, I didn't do very well with item management, and I was in situations where I was just like punching and running, and then finding bricks and throwing them.
That's the best.
And that's good too, because there's bricks and bottles like all over the place. So even if you do run out of stuff, like you do have options. Where in Resident Evil, if you ran out of bullets, like if you're trying to use the knife, I mean, you're pretty much screwed at that point.
Yeah.
But in relation to the dad theme, like going back to that, then, you know, you're playing with the other main character, Ellie, who's a young girl throughout the game. And I thought the relationship between them was great. You know, like you see her like kind of build her character throughout the story, and, you know, their relationship grows throughout the story. And, yeah, I thought that was really well done. Which is something where...
I usually don't play video games for the story, but like this story is so good. It's just like you usually don't get that type of like, you know, emotion that's evoked, you know, through video games. Like they told the story so well, and, you know, kind of how Brian mentioned, like the progression of the relationship between the two main characters is just amazing, and like the dialogue. You really don't see this, you know, type of, you know, movie level drama and dialogue in video games. It was just so amazing to experience that.
Yeah, totally agree.
So are they actually father-daughter, or are they just like the same, like an age gap where it's like their father-daughter?
It's an age gap. Yeah, where, yeah, I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, but the girl
they're
that
not
you
actually
play
related. But there's a father-daughter relationship there.
So why exactly did you guys get double points for this game then? I mean,
well, we'd have to jump into spoilers for that.
Yeah, it'll be a spoiler. I'll talk about that, but yeah. But
I would say
the
general
go ahead.
The general relationship, I think, between Joel and Ellie is what makes that kind of that fatherly theme so strong, even if they're not like biological father and daughter.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. I was just curious.
I mean, it's bullshit, but it's okay. I mean.
Oh man! If it was
calling us out.
If it was Destiny, it would have got revoked. But we'll ride.
All
right. Well, thanks, Melvin, for talking through that.
I got one more game though, but just round that out. Let me just state this: Last of Us, because it hasn't been mentioned, it's probably one of the best games of all time. So if you haven't played it, I definitely recommend you play that, and especially if you're a dad looking for some games that have a dad theme, this is one of the best ones you will play.
Absolutely.
Now to talk about a dad game that I played that I didn't like so much was The Lion King. So I actually bought the Disney Classics game package on Switch that comes with The Lion King and Aladdin. And us having this dad beat challenge really motivated me to, look for different dad games to play. So I thought, this is the perfect time for me to go ahead and jump into The Lion King, and, kind of play through that. I had so many fond memories of this game when I was younger, but for some reason when I play through it now, this game really sucks. I don't know if you guys feel that way. It was really glitchy. It's just difficult beyond belief. Like there's the only reason I was actually able to beat the game is because they have a nice rewind feature on the Switch. So anytime you die, you can just hold the left trigger and just rewind and redo it. But without that, there would be no way in hell I would be able to beat this game.
So how far did you make it into the game before you started really abusing that rewind feature? Because when I play games like that, I always go into it where like, okay, I'm gonna try and do it legit, but then it's so tempting to use.
Oh, dude, 30 seconds in, I was...
Really?
Yeah,
man.
30 seconds in.
I wonder if it's like a problem with the Switch port or something, because I played that on Super Nintendo like way back when, and I beat that game as a kid. I haven't played it since, but I didn't think it was that difficult. I don't remember it being like...
If you go back to it, that second level where you have to roar at the monkeys, it's like a big puzzle, and it's I remember that being very difficult. As a kid I memorized it, so it made it easy.
Yeah, that's what I did, yeah.
Yeah, I had
I've actually heard of a
game as a kid. Go ahead.
I've actually heard an interview from the main developer or whoever it was, but he actually admitted they didn't quite balance the difficulty out right. It was actually a lot harder than they wanted it to be.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll never be playing that game again, but it was a cool experience. I am, kind of going through and playing Aladdin a little bit now. It's not a dad theme, but we can talk about that a little bit more later. But those were all the dad games that I played this month. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, Darkside, to talk about what you played this month.
Oh, this month, what did I play? There's always so few games that I beat in a month. I played first Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. It did have a dad theme. Basically, I'll explain.
Can you read the Wikipedia entry for me, please, that explains the dad theme?
I can find it if you want, but basically, it's an open world action adventure game. It came out, when was it? 2014, I believe. I'm just getting around to playing it now. It takes place in the Lord of the Rings universe. It takes place between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings.
Frodo's dad? You play Frodo's dad in this game?
No, you play as a ranger named Talion, if I remember correctly. And basically, the main bad guy of the game ends up killing. Spoiler! Nobody cares.
Big
It's like 5 minutes into the game. Like literally the intro, like cinema.
Yeah, it's the intro of the game. It ends up killing your wife and son, and also killing you. But in the process of that, there's this elf lord wraith thing that bonds with you, that keeps you alive, so that you can get revenge. And the reason that he does that is because his family was also killed by the same villain. And so, like I said, it's an action-adventure, open-world game where you run around and do different missions and do different side missions.
This villain just goes around killing dads?
He is the hand, I believe. Yeah, he's the hand of Sauron. So he's basically working towards the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, where Sauron is getting into power again.
The combat is like almost exactly like the Batman Arkham games.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I was going to point out.
A lot harder, but like pretty much like the same.
Yeah.
The way it flows and stuff.
Yeah, the same, parry system. It's not overly complicated, and it's not exactly deep either, but it's just fun enough where you don't get bored with it.
How long is it?
Doing everything. How long did I put into it?
I never beat it.
Was 38 hours. I think I ended up putting somewhere around 46.
Wow.
But yeah, all the systems in place were just good enough where they weren't terrible. I wouldn't say it was an amazing game, but it was a decent game.
Will you play the sequel?
What's that?
I said, will you play the sequel to that game?
Yeah, the sequel's supposed to be much better, so I'm going to get it
at
some point.
And that when they kill moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that game have some kind of Nemesis feature or something?
Yeah, so it has a system called the Nemesis system. And basically what it does is that there are different captains and war chiefs on the enemy's side, and they remember things, basically. So if you find a captain and you fight him and he escapes, right, he'll remember that he escaped, he'll remember that he fought you, and they're able to fight each other off screen and rank up in their own little ranking system. So basically you can fight somebody, and usually you're fighting a lot of people at a time, so if you start a fight with a group and they run away, they'll come back later stronger and remember the way that you fought and fight you accordingly. And
I kind of found that more frustrating but a lot of people loved it. It was like the main hook of the entire game. I found that kind of frustrating, but apparently everyone else loved that system. So.
Well, I liked it early on. I thought it was a pretty cool system. But then when you get later in the game and everybody's immune to everything, then it doesn't. You got to find creative ways to kill them.
All right, Darkside. What other games did you play that had the dad theme in it?
Other games I played that had the dad theme were Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Now, I have not played this at all. I didn't even know it had a story. The first one did not have a single player at all. Is that right?
Correct.
The second one does?
Yeah, the first one didn't have a story, which was annoying. The second one does have a story, and it's just okay. You know, it's nothing really that interesting. It's like basically at the end of Return of the Jedi, the Death Star gets destroyed, and the Empire's still around. Basically, is what the story says. Rather than the Empire is over, they're saying that the remnants of the Empire are still around, and now that they're scattered about, they're doing crazy things and blowing up all different sorts of other planets and things like that. The basic story is you're one of the people that are on Inferno Squad that works for that works for the Empire, and your home planet is going to be destroyed to set an example for the rest of the Empire so that they don't disband, basically. And so because you're doing that, you decide to join the rebels and fight the Empire. Where the dad theme comes in is that while this is all happening, you're working for the Empire, and you are on a ship that is run by your dad, basically. He's the admiral that you report to. So you end up betraying him so you can be with the rebels and then fight him. And go ahead.
Does the campaign, is that all single player or is that co-op?
I don't believe that it's co-op. I didn't try it. It does have a lot of co-op in the multiplayer where you can do different types of missions, but I think the single player is just solo.
And do you think if somebody like me who doesn't really care about Star Wars at all, would I still enjoy the game, do you think?
It's a first-person or third-person shooter, and it leans heavily on, cliches and tropes like that you would find in those type of games. Games like these, So, I don't know. It's not very long. I'd say it's like a 6-hour campaign, so you might enjoy it.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but the controversy tied to this game when it was relatively new. It's got the most downvoted community manager Reddit comment of all time, I think, and it's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
I do remember that. It was the context about how hard it was to unlock certain characters to play as, right?
Yeah, so it was pretty hated by by the general community when it first came out. Yeah. I think they fixed it since then. Yeah, but the downvote's like somewhere around like 600,000 downvotes or something.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh man.
Yeah, it had to do with the multiplayer and the microtransactions and the loot boxes and
okay.
Yeah, unlocking notable heroes to play as or villains or whatever, and it was like the community manager said something like they wanted to give the players a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking stuff, and everybody just flipped out. So that was pretty hilarious when that game got released.
And weren't the odds for getting like characters like so small that it was so tough to get them? You had to spend so much money to unlock stuff.
I think it was like you gotta spend like 60 hours to unlock Darth Vader, or you can just like buy like $1,000 worth of loot boxes.
Yeah,
get them.
And you would literally play as the hero character, the Darth Vader, for like a couple minutes, and that's it. If you weren't very good, it could have been a couple seconds. And it's like 40 hours for a few seconds of gameplay.
Wait, you play as him for a few seconds, and then if you die, you lose the ability to play as him?
Yeah, it was a one-time thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but yeah, they after everybody bitched for months and months, they fixed it where now you're able, just after you're in a match for a little bit of time, if you build up enough points, which usually it's almost impossible not to do. But you can play as those characters in pretty much any match.
That should be illegal.
It might be.
It is.
We'll see where things go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Darkside. What else do you got? I think you had another dad game, right?
I do. One more. It was Gears of War 4.
Nice.
I didn't really like this one too much. This one, it takes place 25 years after Gears of War 3. And basically, the dad theme of the game is you're playing as the previous trilogy's main character's son. His name was Marcus Phoenix. You're playing as his son, and his name escapes me. I think it was like JD or something like that. JD Phoenix. It just didn't resonate with me, the story. The first third of the game, you're like doing a mission for some bullshit corporation, and you're mostly fighting robots. And then, like, you discover that, hey, maybe the bad guys from the first game are back, and then you find your dad, and he gets kidnapped, and then you gotta go find him. And for, like, the second third of the game, you're just running around trying to find, essentially a dog with, a tracker. It wasn't a dog, it was something else, but it's basically you're running around trying to fetch this thing that's tracking your dad's. Then you find it, and then the last third of the game is fight the bad guys.
Do
None of the robots
any of
you can bleed.
What we say,
Your question was probably more interesting than mine going.
I was going to say, do any of the Gears of War games really have that captivating of a story? Because I remember I only played the first one, part of it, and they had that ad campaign where they had the Mad World song playing. Do you guys remember that ad?
Yeah, that was a good ad.
Yeah, it was a great ad, and they made it seem like it was going to be like this, I don't know, a deeper experience than what it ended up being. So I guess I've never played really any of them to completion, but do any of the Gears of War games really have that great of a plot or a story?
I don't really remember the first three too much. It's been a while since I played those. 4 just didn't resonate with me at all. And the gameplay, it didn't seem like it offered anything new, so I wasn't really into it. I just was mostly playing it just to finish it.
All right. So that was it for your dad games then, Darkside?
That's it.
All right. Bash, did you play any games this month with the dad theme?
I actually did. Not intentionally, but Streets of Rage 4. Actually, spoilers for Streets of Rage game. Actually, Adam, he plays Adam from the first game, and his daughter is also a playable character in it.
I did not know that.
Okay.
You can unlock him in stage 3 or something. It's actually maybe the best game in the series. The combo system is really awesome. Is anyone here a fan of Streets of Rage? I don't know.
I love Streets of Rage.
Yeah, I played 1 and 2. I don't think I ever played 3.
Same. Yeah. I played 3 a little bit, but 2 was the one that I think is the fan favorite that I've definitely.
Yeah, everyone loves it. I think I might like the third one better, but I think I'm the only one. But yeah.
So yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Streets of Rage 4 though. So overall, you thought that was pretty good?
Yeah, but I think the first thing, if you play it, it looks kind of crappy in still photos, but the animation is really, really good. They spend a lot of time on that. And there's not a whole lot to say about Streets of Rage games, but
beat people up,
really
right? Fuck them up.
Yeah, pretty much. You can unlock basically every character in the entire series from their games, and they still have the same graphics as they had in their original game.
Oh, that's cool.
And
retro sprites and stuff?
Yeah, if you unlock Axel from Streets of Rage 1, he doesn't have all the fancy moves and stuff from the later games, but his punch combo is just really fast. It's trade-offs, he can't run, but yeah.
Are
so
you Go ahead, Melvin.
Is this a game you would recommend that it would even be fun to play single player, or do you really need a buddy to play it couch co-op to really get the full experience of it?
I mean, I never played it multiplayer, but I've heard good things. It actually has 4-player multiplayer. I think I'm the only one that owns it yet, but
And there's an online component to it too?
There's what?
Can I play online with someone, or do you have to be same room co-op? to play together?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's online. Yeah, I don't know if it's crossplay, but like I said,
You're
I'm the
playing
only
on
one.
PS4, right?
Yeah, I'm the only one that got it on PS4, and no one else is going to. So that's probably how
In the whole world.
Yeah, I've got it coming in the mail, but I'm getting it on Switch, which I'm a bit hesitant because I know some Switch games have been a bit gimped in terms of quality. But I've heard Streets of Rage 4 is supposed to be pretty good on all platforms.
It's completely 2D. I doubt it would have any problems.
I mean, that Bloodstained game, that's, not really 2D. I mean, it's on a 2D plane, but that one is kind of had huge issues on the Switch, so that kind of made me nervous to pick up Streets of Rage 4 on the Switch, but I did anyway because I heard that it was pretty comparable.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms. But yeah, Streets of Rage 4, as far as I know, is perfect on everything.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah. I'll pick it up too.
Melvin, you and I can play with each other.
PS4.
It might have crossplay. I gotta look into it, but
Get it on Switch.
Well, all right.
yeah, that's all I gotta say.
All right. Moose, did you play any games with a dad theme this month?
I did not, but in Destiny 2, I did use a dad loadout, which is a pulse rifle and a fusion rifle. You know, you use that combination, they call you a dad loadout user, basically.
Wait, is that in
Explain
game?
that.
Yeah, explain it, please.
It's not in game. It's a multiplayer community thing. So it's like it's kind of a lazy way to play the game when you're doing PvP. And they say that a lot of dads use it because it's easier to jump in and get kills, I guess. It's not exactly easy, but they make fun of people. It's like a dig at people that are using that combo.
Yeah.
So
Why did you decide to use that loadout?
Why do I use it?
Yeah, because you're a new dad.
I don't always use it, but it's kind of like an easy. You don't have to aim as much with a fusion rifle. It's sort of like a charge rifle. So you just charge, hold it for a couple seconds, and then it's like a one-hit kill. So that's why they call it a dad loadout. And if you don't get that one-hit kill, you switch to your pulse rifle and you clean it up. And the pulse rifle is like a battle rifle in Halo. It's like a 3-burst shot.
You're talking another language to me right now.
Well,
But it sounds
like,
cool though.
it's
It's
like
a Halo thing, man. You won't understand.
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter. Like it's just like a pulse rifle similar to like a 3-burst rifle.
We all got to get on Destiny.
That's the moral of the story, right?
Yeah, play Destiny.
Play Destiny 2. Free to play.
Have fun all day.
Exactly.
And Brian, what dad game did you beat this month?
So the only one I beat was, and I haven't even beat it yet, so I gotta wrap that up. But The Last of Us is what I've been playing. So we talked through that pretty exhaustively, I'd say.
Yeah, triple point for you, right?
That's right. Yeah, as long as I beat it in the next 2 days. All right, so I think we'll shift now. So to kind of round out the theme of the month, we'll go through our top 3 dad games, and this doesn't have to be anything that you played recently or. Maybe you just heard that it was a great game. So I'll start things off. So at number 3, I put Silent Hill, and then kind of cheating, but also Silent Hill 3. So if you never played Silent Hill,
not Silent Hill 2.
No. So Silent Hill 2, you are trying to find your wife in Silent Hill. So in the first Silent Hill, you're trying to find your daughter, and that's kind of the whole focus of the game. And then, spoilers for, a game that came out on PlayStation 2, when you start Silent Hill 3, because Silent Hill 2 was completely separate, the thought was that Silent Hill 3, because you're playing as a new protagonist, would be a completely separate game as well. But you find out, I forget how far along in the game, but you find out that the main character that you're playing as is the daughter that the dad finds at the end of Silent Hill 1. And I forget the plot of Silent Hill 1, but it's something like your daughter's was used for some cult ritual or something like that. So she's kind of like possessed, but not completely. So then in Silent Hill 3, you find out that you're playing as the daughter. And I was blown away at that because back then, before like social media and all that stuff, it was not leaked in any reviews that had any link to the first game.
I thought it did. maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe I heard a spoiler somewhere, but
yeah, at least I did not. I remember I read a couple of reviews of it, and there was no mention that it was linked back to the first game. So
I remember right there.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was a pretty cool twist.
How far in the third game did you realize that, I guess?
I want to say it was like halfway. It might have been earlier. I mean,
some of those reviewers, they probably play like the first, hour or something and then review the game back then.
That's true. Yeah, that's
they're supposed to beat the game, but they don't always do that.
So they might not have even gotten that far, because I want to say it was a pretty good way. I mean, it might have been in the first. Those games aren't that long, so it might have been in the first few hours. I don't remember. But back then, I think it was much easier to keep things under wraps than it would be now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 3. Melvin, what would you consider the number 3 dad game of all time?
My number 3 dad game of all time would probably be God of War PS4. And it was a good game, but I don't think it was the best God of War game. But just in terms of dad theme, there was a heavily dad themed game, and I think the relationship between Atreus, I believe his name was, and Kratos was pretty cool. Overall, I didn't like the game as much as other people did, but I did like the relationship.
One of the greatest games ever made.
So Darkside, if that's one of your top 3 games, you can feel free to kind of jump in and talk more about that if you'd like.
It was also my number 3. And yeah, I mean, besides being one of the greatest games ever made, the dad, Kratos is actually a good dad in this one, versus being a murdering dad in the first few games.
Not at first, though. He's kind of a fucking asshole, like, right off the bat. But, like, kind of grow together.
Yeah, they definitely do grow together.
Boy.
That's
all he said. Boy.
Boy, feed us.
Is there? And my memory is very poor. Unless I play a game twice, is there growth in their relationship as you get further in the game? I could not remember if there was.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I mean, I like that game as well. That did not make my top 3 because I figured Darkside you'd have it covered. But I thought when I was playing The Last of Us, it made me appreciate how well they handled that relationship, just because I was not remembering really any growth in God of War. So that might just be my memory that was lacking there. All right, so Darkside, you said that was your number 3 as well. Yep. So Bash, what is your number 3 dad game?
I did not plan ahead for this.
That is okay. Do you want to pick one off the top of your head?
I'd go God of War 3 right now, and then I'll start thinking about it for number 2 and number 1.
All right.
Bruce.
All right, for me, I'd say probably Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Fallout 3, you are in search of your dad starting the game. In Fallout 4, you're in search of your son starting the game. Those games are pretty open world, so I don't really know if they're intertwined at all. I don't think they are. But you start the game out with that focus. And there's the main quest is all in line with searching for your father or son, depending on which game you're playing.
Has anybody else played those games? Fallout 3 is probably on the top of my list for games that I want to play and that I know I would enjoy and that I own, but I've just never gotten around to it.
Played 4 for 10 hours, I think. Then I just kind of got sidetracked. But yeah, it is pretty. I actually hear New Vegas.
New Vegas is the one that gets.
I keep hearing. Yeah.
That one gets the most accolades as far as looking back. That's like a spin-off of Fallout 3.
Should I play Fallout 3 before I play New Vegas?
I don't think you have to. The story is it's in the game, obviously, but the story's not really why you play those games. It's just an open world, survival, action RPG, basically.
And I remember when 3 came out, it had some kind of, the VATS system or something, where you can pinpoint. Is that still cool, or is that outdated?
That's a staple for the game. They do that in all the recent ones. It's just basically kind of like an auto aim type feature.
Kind of like
slows bullet
freeze
time.
and like
Yeah. You get like a little bullet time, so it freezes time a little bit, and you can aim for precision hits and whatnot. It's kind of cool, but for me, it's more fun to just play it outright and not slow it down. But
yeah, that's
for
how I did it.
certain enemies, like it's just easier to slow it down.
So you can like turn that off and on like as you play?
Yeah, it's just a feature in the game.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember if it's like a button press or what, but it's just like something where you can do it like in mid-game.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to shift in then to number 2. So my number 2 dad game, I went with Heavy Rain. So I think Heavy Rain is a game that it was really well received when it first came out from what I remember, but in recent history, it has not been looked back that favorably.
Yeah, it gets a lot of shit.
I still look back on it very fondly. I mean, it's all QuickTime events almost exclusively. And, but yeah, you know, you're playing as a guy, you're searching for your son. You play as multiple characters throughout the game, but I would say the main character is the guy looking for his son. And I think if you want to, there's definitely plot holes that you can pick apart that, you know, don't make any sense. But overall, I thought it was really fun. I mean, there's one scene that is one of the most intense scenes of gaming that I've ever had. And I had played it really close to God of War 3 as well. And I remember it was just as intense as God of War 3 when I was playing it. So yeah, I thought that was a great game. The follow-up game that they did, Beyond Two Souls, I thought was not good at all. So maybe, I thought it was okay, but not nearly as good as Heavy Rain. So maybe if I went back and I replayed Heavy Rain, I wouldn't think it was, so highly. But I remember really liking it.
So I haven't played that, and I haven't played Alan Wake, and I always get those two games confused for some reason. Is there any similarities, or is it just the general style, or what? Like, what's making me confused, I guess? Do you know? I think you played them both, right?
I did, yeah. I mean, Alan Wake is considerably different. I mean, in that one, you're actually, like, in terms of gameplay, you're actually shooting. It's got, like, a flashlight mechanic where you stun enemies and then you shoot them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like David Lynch mixed with survival horror.
Yeah, not too much of an overlap, I would say. I really don't even remember what the main premise of Alan Wake was. Like, what I think you're writing a story, because I know you're an author in that game, but I don't think I don't remember if you're searching for like a lost family member or anything like that. Maybe you are, and that would be where they'd be similar. But they probably came out at around the same time. Otherwise, I don't know too many similarities between those two.
Okay.
Heavy Rain, man. Press X for Jason.
Jason. All right, Melvin, do you have a number 2 dad game for us?
I do, and anybody that knows me knows that this is one of my favorite games of all time, but this is Tekken. So let me just give you a little back.
The Tekken series in general?
Yeah, Tekken series in general. So there was no moment more exciting to me in video games than when I first beat Tekken 1 with Kazuya, and then I saw him throw his dad off the cliff. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so cold-blooded.
That was the best moment of your life.
Yeah, best moment of my life. A 10-year-old boy playing PlayStation 1, he threw his dad off the cliff. And then it gets better when you beat Tekken 2 with Heihachi, and he throws Kazuya into a volcano. It's like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, those were definitely some highlights of my childhood, beating the Tekken games and kind of watching the relationship between Heihachi and Kazuya. And just throwing this out there, no man in this world can beat me in Tekken 2, just putting that out there. And that is my, I'll just say the Tekken series is kind of like number 2 on my list. Just, watching the relationship between Heihachi and Kazuya was amazing to me as a kid.
Yeah, I was more of a Tekken 3 guy, and I don't think I paid attention to the plot so much. I just like playing as a little dinosaur, so I might have had a different experience.
Eddie Gordo.
He's been gone with the wind move over and over again.
Yeah, that's right.
Do some Tekken bowling,
dinosaur.
Oh, Tekken bowling.
So wasn't Jin in Tekken, and he was like a son of somebody, I thought?
Yeah, Jen was the son of Kazuya.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was kind of like, so it's
So
kind of
Hihachi's his grandfather.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Isn't there another one in the fourth one? I can't remember her name. Like the son of Jin, maybe, isn't it? Can't remember.
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and play that one.
You still play as Heihachi, but he's like 90 years old then, or
Right.
something like that at that point?
I think I kind of fell off after Tekken 3. Is kind of where I fell off at.
Tekken 3 was the peak, I'd say.
Yeah.
Tekken Tag was really popular because it was on PlayStation 2, but...
Yeah, that's where I fell off as well. Tekken Tag, I think, was a launch game for PS2, so there wasn't a whole lot to buy. But after that, yeah, I didn't play much after that.
There's so many of those games.
Yeah.
All right.
I have Tekken 7 downloaded on my system. But I
Yeah,
need to play.
You got it on Game Pass or you got it on PlayStation?
Both.
Oh shit!
We gotta play that
between Heihachi and Kazuya in that one.
And we gotta play that in VR, Darkside.
Oh, is it VR?
Oh, it is VR. I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know how or what. I have not dabbled with that, but
oh man, it might be like that Black Mirror episode where you get to see that stuff, huh?
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Striking Vipers.
Yeah, Striking Vipers. Oh man.
Shit.
All right, Darkside, what's your number 2 dad game of all time?
My number 2 was The Last of Us. So we've talked that one to death, but that was my number 2.
Good choice.
All right, Bash, what's your number 2?
We'll go with Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, nice. It's a good game.
Technically not playing as the dad, but...
as long as there's a direct relationship, we're allowing it.
And when you go into that game, do you know that Alucard is the son of Dracula, or is that a reveal at some point?
I mean, he was in Castlevania 3, so I think you're supposed to know that.
Oh, all right, got it.
I think
got
he-
it.
Yeah, I think in all like the
right?
publicity and stuff they told it.
All right, Moose, what is your number 2 dad game of all time?
I'm gonna say The Witcher 3.
Witcher 3. I have not played that one at all. I didn't know there was a dad theme in that.
So it's like similar to The Last of Us, where there's like an adopted type daughter, and I think her actual dad is in the game too. But you play as Geralt of Rivia. He's the main character, and the daughter is Ciri, and you're basically in search of her at the beginning of the game, and then throughout the game, you end up playing as her as an adult for some of the parts. And they end up meeting, and, spoilers, they end up connecting and whatnot. And I'm not going to spoil the actual game because it's a long game, and if you haven't played it, there's multiple endings, so.
And you played that one all the way through, right?
I did, yeah, and I played all the expansions and stuff, so it's a great game.
We want to watch the Netflix series.
I have, yeah, it's good.
I need to watch
4
it.
episodes. Yeah. It's pretty horny, but
that's Netflix for you, though,
Yeah, I need to watch the series. I also need to play the game.
So-
I've only heard great things.
So
yeah, same.
The Netflix series is, I guess there's some scenes from the game. I think it's taken from the short stories mainly prior to Witcher 3, and I think it's prior to the first actual novel too. So I think the next season is supposed to be the main story of the novels, and I haven't beaten 1 and 2, so I don't really know the full story on that side, but I know the first season is all the short stories as the focus.
All right. Well, I'm going to move into my number 1. It's The Last of Us. Yeah, we've talked about it a ton. I'm really glad that I decided to replay it before doing the second one, because there was some big scenes that I can't believe that I forgot that I was just getting blown away by. But yeah, I won't go into that one anymore. So Melvin, you want to give your number 1 dad game?
I think it can be guessed. It is The Last of Us, so I'm in line as well. And I'm also, glad that I replayed this now, before, jumping into part two. Even like the, beginning of the game, I totally forgot that part. So, glad I replayed through that again.
All right, Darkside, do you want to give us your number one?
My number one dad game of all time is The Walking Dead Season 1.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Can you elaborate any on that without spoiling anything?
Yeah, so, everybody knows what The Walking Dead is, zombie apocalypse. Basically, you play as the main character's name is Lee, and he's a convict going off to jail when his car gets hit by another car, zombies everywhere. And basically, he finds this little girl, Clementine is her name, and, she's a little girl and he's just a dude, and basically he takes care of her throughout the course of the game. And throughout the course of the game, it's one of the most fulfilling and personal relationships I've ever played in a game. Truly touching, and emotional and sad and smart and just so well written.
And when you're playing that, I played, I want to say, the first 2 episodes, and I don't remember why I stopped, but do the actions you make, do they actually change things that happen later on? Like in Season 2, is there anything that you do in Season 1 that changes anything in Season 2?
Yes, there is. Absolutely.
That's high on my playlist as well for a game I'd like to go through. Has anybody else played that?
Oh, no.
I highly recommend it. It's extremely good. I know that The Walking Dead, the show, isn't great right now, or probably ever again. But
It's still going on.
yeah, it's still going. It's limping along,
Whatever happened to the spinoff? Do they still have that too, or is that canceled?
I never watched it. I'm not sure if it's
Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons or so. Yeah, I have no idea if that's still going on or not either.
I hope not.
My sister liked it quite a bit. She said it was better than the original, so I don't know. It had its fans, but yeah, I have no idea. All right, Bash, do you want to give us your number one dad game?
Yeah, it's not really a dad game, but the dad in the game is the best character. I'm gonna say Resident Evil 7.
He is the best character.
Yeah, that's the freakiest shit. That entire first chapter where he's like just. I don't want to spoil any of the jump scares. I know people hate jump scares, but like he is a major part of the best jump scares in any video game ever made.
Yeah, he's like the nemesis of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that.
To play.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I want to play through that in VR, but have not gotten around to it yet.
I never played it in VR, but yeah. It is intense as shit, and it's probably the hardest game in the series, like, bar none.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was supposed to be that difficult.
It gets, that's maybe the one game in the series where you can't kill everything. Like, you have to run away from stuff because you don't have enough ammo to fight, like at least half of the things in the game. Like,
are there multiple difficulty settings?
Yeah, probably. I didn't play it on the hard. Yeah.
I actually heard that
DLC either. But
I actually heard that it's easier to play in VR because the aiming is more precise.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense. Like, I don't even know if headshots do anything in that game. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to give that one a go, but I might lower the difficulty because I had on the Resident Evil remake on GameCube, I had a really hard time with that one to where I never beat it, and I always wanted to.
I would still play on normal. I would still play on normal because it's rewarding. Like,
yeah.
It isn't bullshit like difficulty. It's like actually you got to work for it.
Yeah. I'm not much for working for stuff, but I'll give it a try. All right,
right.
Bruce, do Do you want to round things out, Moose, with your number one dad game?
So my number one dad game is going to be 2 games again. Final Fantasy 10 and 15. Both of those have pretty strong dad themes, and if you play the game, you kind of know, I guess, what those themes are. And Final Fantasy 10, it's a pretty big part of it, obviously, if you played it.
Bigger than 10.
Yeah, it's probably bigger in 10, but I don't want to give any spoilers, but 15 also has a pretty big dad theme as well. So both of those games, pretty lengthy if you're going to play them, but they're centered around father-son type themes. And honorable mention, Super Mario 3.
What, with the Koopa Kids?
Koopa Kids, yep, all the way through.
Yeah. Oh man, I should have put that on my list.
Yeah.
I got to throw in Smash Brothers because you play as Bowser and also the Koopa Kids. So.
Most of those Mario games aren't really, worth mentioning anyway.
They're all the same, right? If we're doing honorable mentions, I got to throw out Shenmue. Even though, your dad dies in the first opening cutscene, but
spoilers.
Spoilers. The entire series of games after that, that is the sole purpose of your quest is to get the guy who killed your dad. And the opening cutscene, I remember it was really well done. It's kind of cheesy to watch it now, but I remember in 1999 or whenever it came out, I was pretty blown away by that. So. All right, I think that wraps up.
One other honorable mention, Animal Crossing. Isn't Tom Nook the dad of Tim and Tommy?
He is, yeah. He's a great role model for them. No child labor laws in the world of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
All right, so that rounds out the dad theme of the month. So now we'll just kind of shift into other games that we've been playing. So I'll be pretty brief. So the 2 games that I played this month as well, I played through the original Castlevania, and this was on the Castlevania collection that I think it's on sale right now on PlayStation 4 for $5. So that is a no-brainer, $5. You're getting something like 12 different games. But I was playing it on the Switch, and I made it halfway through the game without using save states. And I was thinking I'm pretty damn good at Castlevania. I forgot. And then the difficulty spikes like crazy. And it's not a long game, but near the end, it doesn't have a rewind feature. It just has a save state, and you only get one save state. So you got to kind of be smart about when you have the save state. But near the end, with the last fight with Dracula, I was doing every hit that I landed, I was doing a save state. So, I felt like I was pretty much cheating my way through the end of it, but it was a game that I love the Castlevania series, but I had never played all the way through the first one. So I decided to finally give that a run through. And then the other game that I played was a game for PlayStation VR called Arizona Sunshine. And this is a first person, VR, so most games are first person, but it's a zombie shooting game. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about. You're just it's very linear. And you're shooting zombies, but what makes it fun is there's this peripheral for PlayStation VR called the PlayStation Aim, and it's like a gun. So I love light gun games, and that with next-gen stuff is about as close to a light gun as you get. So, you're holding the gun up to your face, and then you're looking down the scope to get headshots and things. And I've heard some people complain that, it's not a great game. The production value, it's pretty low. But the voice acting is hilarious. The guy who does the voice acting, it sounds like he's doing it completely off the cuff, and it sounds kind of amateurish, but it's lighthearted, and it makes it it takes a 6 out of 10 game and makes it an 8 out of 10 game. So if you happen to have a PlayStation VR and you have the Aim controller, it goes on sale all the time. It's normally $40. I got it for 10, and it was definitely fun to do a run through of that.
How much does PlayStation VR cost now? I haven't really looked.
So when I got it, it was on sale on Black Friday, and it was a really good deal. It came with 5 games and the headset and the camera, and it was $200. So I think normally it's around $300. But really, if you get the PlayStation VR, you want to get a set of the Move controllers, and those are $100 for the pair if you buy them new. And then the PlayStation Aim, the gun controller, that's like $80. So I mean, the peripherals.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
it was that much.
Yeah, the peripherals can add up if you want to get those, but if you play the games that are centered around those, it really adds to the experience. And like with the PlayStation Move controller, there's a lot of games that require you to have those. But yeah, if you just want to buy the bare bones VR headset, I want to say regular price is probably around $250 to $300. But yeah, if it goes on sale, you can get it for pretty cheap. And I think, PlayStation VR compared to other VR systems, I think is supposed to be more entry level and not really supposed to have the same, I guess, like quality of like resolution and things like that. But it's supposed to be one of the most comfortable headsets to use, I guess. And yeah, I've really enjoyed VR in general.
I mean, the other ones are way more expensive, I think, too, probably for PC.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're dropping like $500
like the Stadia or whatever it's called.
There's like, I think Oculus and
Oculus. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and then there's one that Steam has. I forget what the name of that one is. But yeah, PlayStation VR. It's got a lot of kind of cheap games like Arizona Sunshine. $10 to where you can have a good amount of fun with it for a pretty cheap price. All right, Melvin, did you play any other games this month?
Yeah, I'll be quick. So the one other game that I kind of touched on that I started to play was also part of the Disney Classics. I forget the name of it. The Disney Classics game package. So I'm playing through Aladdin, which let me say is 10 times better than Lion King. So I'm really enjoying that. And I am using the rewind feature a lot as well. I love it. I think they should make all retro games that they release on modern systems with a rewind feature.
Yeah, I agree. I played through Aladdin on the same collection a couple months ago, and that rewind feature is pretty key for enjoyment.
Didn't you beat Aladdin the day you got it?
So I got it. You have a good memory. I got it Christmas when it came out, and I made it all the way to Jafar at the very end of the game. And I did not beat it that day, but I made it all the way to the end because I played it literally for like 8 hours straight. On
you
that
neglected your family to play Aladdin.
Yeah. But yeah, I did end up beating it as a kid, legit, because I loved that game when it came out, and I still have not played all the way through the Super Nintendo one, which is a completely different game. So I do want to give that one a play at some point.
Yeah. And then the other game that I'm playing through, right, that I beat actually this month was The Last of Us DLC, I guess, the Left Behind DLC, which I will say was kind of a downer, kind of coming off The Last of Us and, how great that was to going through the DLC experience, which was really, it just seems like just random stuff. Like there's a section of the game where you're just like, doing like a Super Soaker challenge. You're just running around, with a Super Soaker shooting people, and it's just like, what is this? What am I playing right now? But it did get good towards the end of the DLC, but like for the first 3/4 of the DLC, it's really just kind of pointless. I think it was, they could have left that out.
Does it take place before Ellie meets Joel?
Yeah, it's a prequel.
No, it does not. No. It's actually after Ellie meets Joel. So it's like it's like actually set in the middle of the game. So it kind of does a cutscene between like, a point in the game where Ellie has to help Joel, and then it does a cutscene in a point of the game before she actually meets Joel. So it's kind of like half and half.
All right,
and they kind of cut between the two.
Yeah, I never knew exactly where it took place. I'm planning on playing that right now before I jump into 2, because I figure if I play 2, I'm never going to go back to that DLC.
Right. The scenes where like Ellie, like where you're in modern day, where Ellie is doing stuff for Joel, are cool. But the scenes like that are prequel before The Last of Us, it's kind of dry. But yeah, let me know what you think when you play it. Those are the other games that I played this month.
All right, Darkside, did you play anything else this month?
I did. I played the Resident Evil 3 remake. It was good. I liked it a lot. It was short. But, I mean, if you played the Resident Evil 2 remake, it's pretty much like that. A lot of fun. Wish there was more Nemesis in there, but it was still a good game.
So Nemesis was not in it? Because I was surprised in the Resident Evil 2 remake how much that I forget his name, Mr. X or whatever
Mr.
his name
X,
is. He's in it all the time. So I figured Nemesis would be in there like constantly, but is that not the case?
He's in it maybe the first third of the game, I would say. And that constant sense of dread that Mr. X gave is what you get in that first third of the game. But then the rest of the game, he's relegated to, what's it called? Set pieces, where, you don't really have to worry about him jumping out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, well now, you reach a certain point and he's going to show up because the cutscene happens. So, I mean, they could have done more with that in the second and third part of the game, but it was still enjoyable.
All right. Yeah, I want to play that one too, but I mean, I'm going to wait for a hefty price drop on that, I think, just because the second one went down in price really quickly.
Yeah. And I'm also playing The Last of Us Part 2, but I'm not going to talk about that yet.
All right. Bash, did you play anything else this month?
Actually, for like the last couple months, I've been playing a mobile game. It's a Pixel Puzzle Collection. It's basically Picross. They can't call it that because Nintendo still has the copyright on that. But I beat all 500 puzzles. Now I'm starting it again on expert mode. I'm about 30% through on that. It has like 190 hours on how long to beat.
Oh my god!
That's what I was playing instead of Animal Crossing, basically. Like when the COVID shit was like hardcore and like no one left their house, I was just like sitting in front of the TV playing this fucking game. I was playing it like 5 hours a day, but it's awesome.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free. It's Konami themed. It's all like old school like Konami arcade game pictures.
Oh, really? Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, I haven't played a Picross game in forever.
Yeah, and all the background music is old like arcade Konami games.
Oh, I'm
addicted. Yeah, I'm addicted to Picross now.
What is the name of this game again?
Was it a Pixel Puzzle Collection?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I haven't played a Picross game in a long time, and that having a Konami theme would be enough of a hook to get me back in, I think.
Yeah, that's all I do. Like when I'm in the bathroom, I'm just playing Picross all day, man. If I'm watching YouTube, I'm also playing Picross at the same time. It's nuts.
Bash is constantly on the toilet with his phone.
I eat more nowadays, so I can shit more, so I can play more Picross.
All right. Did you play anything else this month, Bash?
Actually, I played a Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh, did you play all the way through it?
No, I'm not very far into it, but it's only the first city in the original game.
I've heard that. Yeah.
3 parts, I guess, but they expanded it a lot. It's a full game. I'm not that far into it, but I think it plays better than Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, probably. I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's not as autopilot. It's actually you gotta pay attention. I used 20 potions on the first boss fight, but it's good so far.
Yeah, that's cool. One. Yeah, I forgot I had even ordered it, and then it came in the mail, so I definitely want to play that. Is that PlayStation 4 exclusive for now or forever, or what's the status
for now? So I think in 2021 it's supposed to go to other platforms.
Got it.
Brian's got money to spare. He's just ordering games and just forgetting about them left and right.
Well, it was back when I had the Best Buy, the Gamer Club Unlocked. So I ordered it because I got the 20% off, and then it came out after my membership expired. So I'm glad I picked it up, although it's probably been on sale for less than 20% off. But that's why I had ordered it, because I knew my membership was going to expire.
It's still pretty new, so I doubt it's gone on sale yet.
Maybe. All right, Bash, did you have anything else?
Nope.
All right, Moose, did you play anything else this month?
I've been playing another 2 games. I haven't beat either one of them. So, A Plague Tale: The Innocents and Nier Automata. So, Plague Tale: The Innocents, I wanted a game with a different kind of pace than the games I'm used to playing. which lately it's been first-person shooters. I guess I have been playing Modern Warfare as well, the Call of Duty game, just online. So the Plague Tale Innocence is like story-driven. It kind of reminds me of the same style as like the Hellblade game, but it's not exactly the same. But it's kind of like very linear, and that was actually a dad theme game too. But I didn't beat it, so I didn't count it towards this month.
I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah, it seems probably up your guys' alley, to be honest, more than mine. But it's still. I mean, I'm having a good time with it. I'm kind of taking my time. It's pretty easy, and the story's good so far.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
And then Nier Automata, you said you were playing that one, Moose?
Yeah, I'm playing that one, and it's pretty crazy. That game, I guess it's like it's always the same kind of gameplay, but the perspective will change in the middle of the game, and you'll like it's weird. So you'll be like third person, like hack and slash, and then it'll switch to like a mech type game, and the combat's all generally the same. So you switch between third person hack and slash, and it switches to like a mech, and then it switches to like almost like what's that game? I can't think, like Geometry Wars style or something like I don't know, like with the old game like Galaga or something, like one of those where it's like a top down and it's like a bullet hell. Yeah, it turns into that, and it's all technically the same combat style, so it's a little weird, and there's like 26 different endings, so there's a lot to the game. I haven't really broken through too deep into it yet, though.
I was thinking, like, first Nier was supposed to be my, like, number one choice for dad games, but I forgot I was going to say that, so I replaced it with Resident Evil 7.
Did you like the first game? Because I didn't hear that many great things about the first game, but I heard a lot of good things about Automata.
Like, the gameplay is nothing special. It's just, like, kind of button mashing. But the story is really intense. Like, I never beat it because my PlayStation 3 died before I could, like, get the final ending. But yeah, I would still recommend playing it. The gameplay is nothing special, but the story is, like, everything.
Was there some fishing mini game in that was a pain? That's the only thing that I know about Nier is some fishing
because
game.
You got to go around the corner to the other fishing spot. It's annoying, but like, yeah. Other than that, it's a worthwhile play.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so yeah, I just want to mention too with Animal Crossing. I don't know if anybody else is playing. For the month of June, they had this wedding event, and it's just been a complete grind. Where if you want to get every item, you have to go and do this photo shoot like every day. Has anybody else been doing this wedding event?
No, I haven't.
No, I'm done with that game, man. I put so much time into it those first few months. I'm just kind of like checked out of Animal Crossing at this point.
Yeah, it was been pretty lackluster. They've got more stuff coming out in July, but yeah, the wedding event for June was not worth the time that I put into it.
What is it? Teenage girls, soccer moms, and Brian still playing Animal Crossing?
Something like that.
For a while, I was doing a lot of online trading and tried to get all the do-it-yourself recipes, and it got to the point where it was like, it just, like, all the ones I need are, people had to time travel to get them, so they charged like an insane amount of Nook Miles tickets to get them, so I just kind of gave up.
Yeah, there's a lot that are coming in fall. There's like mushroom theme and maple leaf theme and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that being hard to get all those.
Yeah. So, I mean, I might jump back in when they get a new influx of recipes or something, but I'm kind of burnt out on it, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I've put I think we've all put a ton of time in, not all of us, but yeah, Moose, Melvin, we've all put a lot of time into that one. All right, so I think we're going to shift into our final segment here. which is going to be a quick trivia game. And we've been talking a lot about launch titles and kind of what system had the best launch. So what I want you guys to do is give me the order of Nintendo console systems from least number of launch titles to the most number of launch titles.
In the U.S. or in Japan?
In the U.S. And to recap the systems that I'm looking for, so it'd be the original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, and Switch. So 7 different console launches. Put them in order from what you think had the least number of launch games to the most number of launch games.
Okay, so I can tell you the least is definitely N64 because I think that only launched with maybe like Pilot Wings and Mario 64. Is that right?
I think it was just the two.
Maybe like 2 games. Yeah.
So you're talking mainline consoles? That's what you said?
Yeah.
Yes, the 7 mainline Nintendo systems.
I'm gonna say,
Are handhelds in there?
Other than
no,
Nintendo 64,
no
handheld. The least, everything in the same order.
N64, I would agree, is probably the least.
Super is the most.
Super?
So let's say N64 is the first one, then maybe Nintendo is the second one? Original Nintendo?
NES had a ton of games at launch, I think.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, because
I'd say Super Nintendo would be second.
Second
Most
least.
is correct. N64
Second least.
is
You cut out there. What'd you say? Sorry.
Brian?
Brian get disconnected.
Brian's pissed.
Oh, that's Muff.
So I think it was...
Was Muff here the whole time?
He shows up and just goes, wah!
Well,
So Muffy is the new host. Brian is going. Lead us.
Yeah, finish out the segment, man. He did the Nintendo console launch title, title density, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
It's N64, and maybe, I think, Switch didn't
I can hear
have...
you, Brian.
I'm thinking, how many launch titles did Switch have? Because that had, like, a ton of, like just digital games. That's probably near.
Yeah.
And they had ports,
Switch
right?
Near the top. Yeah, they had a lot of ports. So they had, Mario Kart, I think. Breath of the Wild. No, Mario Kart, maybe not. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Mario Kart launched with it.
I
know Breath of the Wild did for sure. I don't know what else, to be honest. Brian came back and then left, it sounds like.
Well, it seems like a good stopping point anyways.
No, we can do this. What do you got?
All right, final guess. Let's just guess N64, then let's guess.
I'm going to guess Super Nintendo after N64.
Nintendo. And then GameCube, maybe? No, Wii only had a few games, right?
I think GameCube had like 4 games or something. It had like Rogue Leader.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion, Rogue Leader.
Yeah.
Then let's say Wii. Nah.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Brian.
Just give us the answer.
Yeah, what's the answer?
I think he like comes and goes.
Yeah, I guess this is definitely going to need some editing, huh?
Fuck it.
Giggles McGee when Muff is here.
Yeah, Muff doesn't show up until the end and just giggles the whole time.
Giggles his way through. Dingo shaking his head.
I would think the Wii had a lot, but maybe Wii U didn't.
Yeah, Wii U, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Wii U had it.
They had a lot of ports. I think they had a lot of ports, though. Like, they had that one for 101 and the Bayonetta sequel. Was that a launch title?
Maybe.
It also had Batman Arkham City.
Well, since we don't know the answer, I guess we can just jump to the last thing and talk about what our beat of the month for the month of July is going to be. Darkside, you want to talk about it?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Did you guys come up with the order then?
No, just tell us.
Yeah, tell us.
I'll go through it.
Actually, I'm
So
thinking
N64.
N64, Super Nintendo, Wii, GameCube, Wii U, Switch.
Where's the NES in there?
NES is number one.
All right, so N64 was the least with 2, and then Super Nintendo was the next least. Only 5 games launched with the Super Nintendo, and that was Super Mario World, Gradius 3, F-Zero, SimCity, and Pilot Wings. And then Switch only had 6 games, which I was surprised with that.
Yeah.
So that had 1-2 Switch, Just Dance, Skylander, Super Bomberman, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then after that was GameCube with 12. I won't list them all. Then NES had 17. Then the Wii had 21. And then the Wii U had 23 games that it launched with.
Maybe that's why I failed.
Maybe had too many options.
The Wii U was just, man, that console, I felt bad when that got released.
Yeah, I mean, some of the launch games like Funky Barn, Game
Well,
Party
it wasn't
Champions.
just the games. It was like the name. Like nobody knew it was a new console.
Yeah, it was pretty doomed from the start. Very confusing. All right, well, I apologize for the technical hiccup, but I think that's going to do it for the Beat of the Month podcast of June. You guys might have already gone into this, but for July, we're looking at Ladies' Night Theme, which is going to be a game that has a female main protagonist. So that's going to be our focus for July. So we will talk to you again next month when we're talking about Ladies' Night. And this has been the Beat of the Month podcast.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.